Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're going to talk about a goat breed. And in each episode of these goat breed videos, I give you a complete look at one breed so you know its history, its quirks, and whether it might be the right fit for your farm. So today we're going to talk about one of the most well-loved dairy goats in the world, the Alpine. The Alpine goat comes from the French Alps, where it was originally developed as a hardy mountain breed. Selective breeding in France created the French Alpine, and later these goats were imported into the United States in the early 1900s. In America, Alpine goats were refined into what is now often called the American Alpine. The American variety is nearly identical to the French, to be honest. But because of early crossbreeding, there is slightly more variation in coat color. Today, Alpines are recognized worldwide as one of the foundation dairy breeds, valued for both their productivity and their adaptability. Alpines are medium to large in size, and they have a refined yet sturdy build. It's vodka hanging out with me. Does usually weigh around 135 pounds, while bucks more often reach around 170 pounds or even heavier. They typically stand between 30 and 34 inches at the shoulder, depending on their sex, girls being a little smaller than the boys. They have upright ears, and they are alert, and they have a straight facial profile that gives them a classic goat look. One of the most distinctive features of the Alpine is the incredible variety of coat colors and patterns. So, recognized patterns, there are a lot of patterns, but actual recognized patterns include white in the front with black in the back, and they have tan in the front with black in the back. They have black in the front with lighter in the rear, and they have a black with white markings and a tan to red-brown body with black markings. These are all really amazing animals. Alpines can also come in two-tone versions of these patterns or solid colors. So they are all remarkable. Because of this, Alpines are sometimes called the rainbow breed of dairy goats. They are all beautiful, and the variation in coat colors means if you're after an Alpine, you can probably find one that you just love the look of. You don't necessarily have to settle for, oh, it's a white goat. You can get a really cool pattern for your dairy goat, and it's fantastic. Now, Alpines are known for being curious, alert, and intelligent. They are generally friendly, but tend to be more independent and assertive than some of the cuddlier breeds like Nigerian dwarfs or pygmies. They are very active and agile, which makes sense when you remember that they originally come from a mountainous terrain. So, yeah, they can move when they need to. And they love to climb. They like to explore. They like to test boundaries. That means if you want Alpines, you're going to need some very good fencing, because keeping them in isn't that easy. This lively and adventurous spirit makes them really fun to watch, but it also means they are a little more all business than some other goats. Alpines are often described as business-like dairy goats because their main focus is production rather than companionship. They weren't bred to be your friend, they were bred to make milk. So yes, they can be a friendly and adorable breed, but ultimately they are a purpose-bred animal. Now, when it comes to milk, Alpines are one of the top dairy breeds in all the world. A well-kept Alpine doe can produce between 1 and 2 gallons of milk per day during her lactation cycle. And that's a lot for one goat. If you're only familiar with cattle, that might not seem like a lot, but for a single goat, that's pretty good. Their lactation period is also really long, meaning you get steady production over a large amount of time. Okay, so the lactation period is how long from having the baby to end of their milking cycle do they produce milk. So is it just beyond when the baby was born? That's a really short lactation cycle. Is it several months after the baby was born? That's a much longer lactation cycle. So it basically dictates how often you have to breed your goat. So these guys have a long lactation cycle, meaning you don't have to breed them nearly as often in order to have a functioning dairy goat. So the butterfat content is also remarkable because it averages around 3.5%, sometimes 4%. That is lower in fat than Nubian milk. And that's good for people who are wanting a lower fat milk because dairy goats tend to produce high fat milk. So if you're looking for something that's still goat milk, still delicious, but doesn't have quite the high fat content, you might look at an Alpine. And with the lower fat, well, they make up for it in sheer volume. Okay. The protein content averages around 3.1%, right around the 3% mark. And their milk is excellent for drinking fresh and is also commonly used for making cheese, yogurt, and even goat milk soap. Alpines are really handy this way. Many small-scale dairies and homesteads rely on Alpine goats as their primary milk goat. They are the backbone of milk production. Alpines are also really tough goats. They were bred in the rough conditions of the Alps, and that background shows in their ability to thrive almost anywhere. They do well in hot climates and in cold climates and everything in between. They are not fussy eaters and will happily thrive on varied forage and browsing, not just carefully manicured pasture. So they can be kept almost anywhere. They're fantastic animals. And while they certainly appreciate quality feed, they are one of the most adaptable dairy goats that you can raise. Alpines are also seasonal breeders. Okay? Don't knock over my tripod. I've got dogs and a cat. So Alpines are seasonal breeders, usually coming into heat in the fall and kidding in the spring. That's convenient for a lot of people. A lot of people want the spring babies. If you want fall babies, you're not going to get them out of most Alpines. A typical Alpine doe will give birth to twins, although triplets are not uncommon. They reach breeding age at around 7 to 8 months, but most breeders are going to wait until the doe is at least a year before she is bred because they want her to be a little larger. Waiting until she's at least 80 pounds before breeding ensures she is strong enough to carry kids and produce milk. So it's better to wait a little longer than compromise the health of the doe and possibly lose a doe that you really value. Alpine does are well known for having good maternal instincts as well, so they raise healthy kids and produce plenty of milk to support them. And you generally don't have to bottle feed even if they have triplets because they do produce a healthy amount of milk and they are really good mamas. Overall, Alpines are a hardy breed with very few genetic issues. Like all goats, they do require management to stay healthy. Parasites are the most common concern, so regular worming, rotational grazing, all that good stuff is important. Their hooves, like all goats, do require regular trimming, especially since they are so active and constantly on the move. And because they are such heavy producers, udder health is critical. Good milking hygiene helps prevent mastitis, which could otherwise become a problem. With proper care, Alpines are generally long-lived and productive goats. So who is the Alpine goat best suited for? What kind of farm should it live on? These guys are an excellent choice for families or farms who want a reliable supply of milk. They are best suited to people who have enough space for their active personalities. They do well on hobby farms where milk production is a goal and can also be kept in small dairies that want a consistent volume. They are not the ideal choice if you're looking for a quiet or cuddly pet, since Alpines are more independent and energetic than you might want for that purpose. They're also not the first choice for people who want the highest buttermilk, the highest butterfat milk, or cream or rich cheese, since Nubians and Nigerian dwarves excel there. But if you're looking for a lower fat milk, then these guys are right up your alley. Alpines are medium to large goats and need room to move, and they're not best suited for very small urban farms. In short, if you want a hardy, productive goat with plenty of stamina and character, the Alpine might very well be an excellent fit. One fun thing about Alpines is that no two ever look exactly the same. Their wide range of patterns and colors, coming in basically all the colors, means that most Alpine herds are full of these unique and beautiful patterns that are just gorgeous to behold, even though they're all the same breed. So you don't have to get multiple breeds in order to get these multiple colors. Because of their upright ears and classic goat profile, Alpines are often the breed featured in children's books and farm illustrations in the United States, and they are the most commonly registered purebred dairy goat in the American Dairy Goat Association. These guys are popular for a reason. They're good at what they do, and they're perfectly suited for their job. And that's the Alpine goat. Hardy, productive, full of energy. Alpines are a mainstay in the dairy goat herds all around the world. They may not be the most cuddly of goats, but they more than make up for it with the reliability of their milk production. And that's about it for me here today at Andersen Acres. Do you raise Alpines, or are you thinking about adding them to your herd? Share your experiences and questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.